New York real estate is thawing even as parts of the country pull back. The proof is in the October and November numbers, from $14,000, $500,000 penthouses to thousands of new listings and a rental market quietly changing shape. Start with October 2025. Across the 5 boroughs, 2,191 homes went under contract, up 10.4% from October 2024. That wasn't just a seasonal blip. Contracts jumped 20 seconds 9.4% from September to October, the strongest fall pickup since 20 seconds 1. Sellers leaned in too. In that same October, 3,539 homes were newly listed across the city, an 8.2% increase year over year. Inventory on the sales side finally felt fuller. 17,243 homes were available, 12.8% more than a year earlier, with Manhattan holding 8,966 of them, Brooklyn 4,239, and Queens 3,009. Buyers noticed. Days on market citywide held at 68.8. Manhattan shaved 18 days from a year earlier, landing at 75. Brooklyn sat at 56, up 6. Queens stretched to 71, up 16. Look under the hood. Manhattan drove much of the sales momentum in October 2025, with 1,060 homes entering contract, up 11.5% year over year. Queens clocked 396 contracts, up 17.5%. Brooklyn posted 580, a 2.4% dip, still a robust number by historical standards. Pricing didn't run away. The citywide median asking price hovered near $1,000 and $50,000, essentially flat, down 0.5% from a year earlier. Instead of chasing the sky, sellers priced to meet the moment. On average, homes sold for 97.9% of their last asking price, a typical discount of about 2.1%. The story was less about frenzy and more about precision. Visibility mattered. The most viewed listings in October, the top fifth by eyeballs, sold for a median of 100% of their asking price. The least viewed slice sold for a median of 90 to 6.7%. In a market with 17,243 homes for sale, those few percentage points often ride on photography, pricing discipline, and being in the right feeds at the right time. Zoom into neighborhoods. In Manhattan's financial district, sellers were ready to deal faster. Homes there took an average of 87 days to go into contract in October, a steep improvement from 168 days the prior year. Discounts did the work. A 96.1% median sale-to-list ratio, roughly 3.9% off ask, paired with a median sale price of $1,150,000. In Chelsea, the median sale-to-list ratio landed at 96.9%, a 3.1% discount against a $1,365,000 median sale price. Midtown East showed 97.4%, a 2.6% discount with a $699,000 median sale price. Cross the river to Brooklyn and Bedford-Stuyvesant tallied a 96.4% sale-to-list ratio, a 3.6% discount at a $995,000 median sale price, while Bay Ridge posted 97.3%, a 2.7% discount at $694,900. A city reads like a mosaic when the discount in one block becomes the full price in another. On the rental side in October 2025, the numbers told a slightly different story. The citywide median asking rent was $3,950, up 18.2% year over year. Manhattan's median stood at $4,600, Brooklyn's at $3,752, and Queens at $3,200. But inventory shifted. The number of homes for rent fell 6.8% across the city. Manhattan's rental inventory dropped 11.5%. Brooklyn's declined 4.0%. Queens slipped 5.1%. One borough broke the pattern. The Bronx registered a 24.4% increase in rental inventory, buoyed by new construction. As buildings competed for tenants, concessions, the sweeteners rose. Citywide, 23.5% of rentals offered at least one concession in October, up 5 percentage points from a year earlier. The Bronx led with 43.2% of rentals offering a perk, Manhattan clocked 20.6%, and Brooklyn 25.6%. Even in a market where the median asking rent was $3,950, the shape of the deal changed. Tie this back to the moment buyers stepped forward. One signal stands out: financing costs edged lower through the fall. That shift unlocked enough affordability to nudge contracts up 10.4% year over year in October 2025. Sellers responded with supply. The 3,539 new listings in October were up 82% from a year earlier, and with pricing discipline. Median asking prices held near $1,050,000, and the sale-to-list ratio of 90 to 7.9% suggested most sellers set realistic targets out of the gate. The market found a rhythm: more choices, tighter spreads, faster movement in a few key pockets, like the financial district, and a willingness to bend where necessary in Brooklyn and Queens. Now widen the lens to what buyers and sellers faced outside the five boroughs as autumn took hold. In September 2025, nearly 85,000 listings were withdrawn across the United States, a 28% jump from September 2024 and the highest September delisting rate in a decade. In the New York Metro, 1,964 homes were pulled that month, a 6% increase from a year earlier. In July, nationwide delistings had spiked 57% year over year, with Miami seeing 57 delistings for every 100 new listings that month. The sharpest shift in September showed up in Virginia Beach, where delistings surged 74.5% year over year. There, 7 out of 10 listings had sat unsold for at least 60 days, and yet the median home value still climbed 7.1% in October to $405,000 as days on market stretched to 31 from 27. When tens of thousands of homeowners pull listings rather than accept low offers, the supply that's actually available contracts. Prices can stay elevated even as transactions fall. That tension, fewer active choices nationally against sticky prices, explains a lot about how and why New York's fall numbers looked the way they did. Back in the city, you could feel the contrast between segments most clearly during the holiday stretch. Between November 2004 and November 30th, 19 Manhattan apartments asking more than $4,000 found buyers. A typical Thanksgiving week on the island sees about 17 of those deals. This year topped that number. On the Upper East Side, 5 contracts crossed the $4,000 line. The headline deal was a pre-war duplex co-op at 895 Park Avenue in Lenox Hill. 6 bedrooms, 5 full bathrooms, and 1 half bath. The price, $14,500. Not far behind, a pre-war co-op at 45 East 66th Street was marked at $9,875,000. Another at 800 Park Avenue on the 5th floor, a condo, posted a $9,495,000 number across 4,500 square feet. A co-op at 865th Avenue, Unit 14AB, was listed at $5,995,000. And at 911 Park Avenue, a pre-war co-op spanning more than 2,500 square feet carried a $5,000 price tag. Luxury marched to its own beat, with 19 such deals in a week when travel, family, and football usually slow everything down. That luxury vignette sits inside a broader reality: more contracts in October, more listings, and steadier pricing, all of it with borough-by-borough nuance. Manhattan's 1,060 contracts in October 2025 marked an 11.5% rise from a year earlier, concentrated in the priciest third of the market. In Brooklyn, contracts dipped 2.4% to 580, but sellers added 1,006 new listings in October, a 17.5% rise, seeding the market for winter buyers who now have more to choose from than they did last year. Queens delivered 396 contracts, up 17.5%, buoyed by co-op-heavy areas like Forest Hills, Jackson Heights, and Rego Park, where the math often pencils better for first-time buyers. For renters, the fall stretch brought a paradox. The citywide median, asking rent at $3,950, was still up 8.2% year over year, but the odds of snagging a concession climbed to 23.5% in October. In the Bronx, the share of concessions reached 43.2%. Manhattan's share of rentals with price cuts was 23.7% in October. Citywide, 18.1% of rentals carried a cut. Even as inventory fell 11.5% in Manhattan and 4.0% in Brooklyn, the terms shifted in favor of tenants who could sort through incentives on 32,409 homes for rent citywide, including 14,289 in Manhattan, 11,973 in Brooklyn, and 4,273 in 2015 and 2004-06, 759 in Queens. Sellers on the for sale side learned an October lesson too. The most viewed listings sold for 100% of ask, the least viewed for 96.7%. Choose the right number, earn the right attention, and the market delivers close to the last asking price. In a city where the sale-to-list ratio averaged 90 to 7.9%, and the median asking price hovered near $1,050,000, that last 2 or 3% often separated the homes that closed in 68 days from the ones that lingered. Step back to the causal chain. What happened? In New York City, contracts rose 10.4% year over year in October 2025, while the number of new listings rose 8.2%. Why? Signals point to financing costs that ticked down enough to unlock demand, combined with sellers who priced sharply, and an inventory backdrop that improved to 17,243 homes for sale citywide. Who felt it? Buyers in Manhattan, where days on market fell by 18 days, and in Queens, where contracts rose 17.5%. Sellers in Brooklyn, who added 1,006 listings in October, and luxury owners on the Upper East Side who inked 5 contracts over $4,000 in a single holiday week. Renters across the city, who faced a $3,950 median ask, but also found a 23.5% chance of a concession, with the Bronx offering incentives on nearly half of rentals. What's next? We'll get there, but first, understand the national countercurrent that framed these local gains. In September 2025, nearly 85,000 listings were yanked off the market nationwide, a 28% year-over-year increase. In New York's metro, 1,964 homes were removed that month, up 6%. July saw another flashpoint, with delistings increasing 57% year-over-year across the country, and Miami tallying 57 delistings per 100 new listings. The mechanics are simple. When sellers avoid a perceived lowball and pull their listings, the available inventory for active buyers shrinks. That reduction in effective supply helps keep sale prices elevated even without bidding wars. Meanwhile, in Virginia Beach, delistings surged 74.5% in September year-over-year, and 70% of listed homes had sat unsold for at least 60 days. Yet the median value still rose 7.1% in October to $405,000. Days on market stretched from 27 to 31. A microcosm of an impasse where time replaces price cuts. That national backdrop matters because it shows what New York did not do in October. Instead of mass withdrawals, the city saw 3,539 new for-sale signs and 17,243 active listings. Instead of a sales freeze, 2,191 contracts went firm. Instead of sellers clinging to aspirational numbers, sale-to-list ratios hovered at 90 to 7.9%. This is what a market looks like when both sides decide to meet in the middle. There's a rental corollary. Citywide rent ask growth of 8.2% in October year-over-year seems stubborn. $3,950 is not a small number, but the leverage is moving. Concessions rose citywide to 23.5%. Share of rentals with price cuts hit 18.1%. Inventory fell in Manhattan by 11.5%, but landlord math adapted. 20.6% of Manhattan rentals came with a concession. In Brooklyn, where inventory fell 4.0%, 25.6% of rentals offered a break. Queens, down 5.1% on inventory, still saw a 21.9% share with concessions. And the Bronx's 24.4% increase in rental inventory changed the most. 43.2% of rentals offered perks. New buildings often seed those deals to fill lease-up rosters, and tenants who track those openings win. What about price dynamics by borough? In October 2020, 5 Manhattan's median asking price landed at $1,405 $456,254, down 1.3% year over year. Brooklyn held a $199,000 median ask, flat year over year. Queens' median ask was $674,700, up 0.9%. Those are more like step counts than sprints. Paired with the citywide $1,500 median asking price, the pattern tells a story. Pricing stability plus more choice equals negotiating room in specific neighborhoods and faster deals where sellers hit the sweet spot. Turn back to the Upper East Side for a human-scale snapshot of what the top of the market looked like as Thanksgiving pies cooled. A 5-flight elevator stop at 895 Park Avenue opened into a 6-bedroom pre-war duplex stretching across 2 levels, with 5 full baths and a powder room, all wrapped in the kind of ceiling height and millwork only a pre-war co-op seems to conjure. The number that mattered was $14,500,000. Below it on the ladder, 45 East 66th Street, a pre-war co-op set at $9,875,000, 800 Park Avenue, a 4,500 square foot condo at $9,495,000. 865th Avenue, Unit 14AB at $5,995,000. And 911 Park Avenue, a pre-war co-op over 2,500 square feet at $5,200. 19 contracts above $4,000 on the island that week. 2 more than a typical Thanksgiving, signaled real buyer conviction in the luxury bracket. Outside the luxury spotlight, the city's middle tiers quietly set the stage for 26. In October, Manhattan's homes for sale rose 11.9% year over year to 8,966. Brooklyn's rose 11.2 to 4,239. Queens rose 14.1% to 3,009. Days on market in Manhattan fell by 18 days to 75, suggesting sellers who adjusted found traction. Brooklyn's days ticked up to 56, up 6. Queens edged to 71, up 16. These increments matter because they map the tug-of-war between supply-demand and the price of money. When financing costs eased into the fall, contracts followed, up 22% month-over-month from September to October. Sellers matched that pace with 3,539 new listings citywide, an 8.2% year-over-year increase. If you rent in the city, the shape of the deal is as important as the sticker price. In October, 23.5% of rentals offered concession packages, free months, fee waivers, and more, up 5 percentage points from a year earlier. Manhattan clocked a 20.6% share of concessions, Brooklyn 25.6%, Queens 21.9%. The Bronx hit 43.2%. Citywide, 18.1% of rentals carried price cuts. In Manhattan, 23.7% did. Tenants willing to cross a subway line or consider a new building could trade $3,950 median ask for a month free or a lower net as developers filled their rosters. There's another map to watch as 2026 approaches. Markets around the Big Apple are poised to draw commuters who need access to Manhattan offices at lower costs than the city core. Affordability and convenience will drive that. Beyond the region, small and mid-sized cities across the Midwest and Great Lakes are set to be among the nation's hottest markets, anchored by lower purchase prices, career stability in blue-collar fields, and a perception of relative safety from natural disasters that have pushed homeowner insurance premiums higher elsewhere. In contrast, some of the pandemic's darlings, coastal Florida and Texas, are cooling. Zorge. Inventory has surged. Demand has dwindled as remote workers return to the cities where their offices sit, and higher insurance costs follow repeated natural disasters. In those places, sellers who must move may find themselves taking a loss. These crosscurrents matter for New York because the city sits at the meeting point of the commute and the credential. If more employers lean into return to office through 2026, the suburbs ringing New York, commutable and comparatively affordable, could tighten. If insurance costs continue to rise sharply in disaster-prone states, households who might have moved to the Sunbelt in 2022 could find the math tilting back toward the Northeast. Inside the city, the rent versus buy calculus will still be shaped by the $3,950 median asking rent and the $1,050,000 median asking purchase price from October 2025, but the terms on both sides are changing. So what's next for New York real estate? Start with the base case. The fall's building blocks hint at a 2026 defined by stability and gradual normalization. On the sales side, expect the dynamic we saw in October 2023, more contracts, more listings, smarter pricing, to carry forward if financing costs remain near recent levels. Inventory at 17,243 homes for sale in October with double-digit year-over-year gains in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens suggests buyers will keep more options than they had a year ago. Sellers who continue to aim for 97.9% sale-to-list outcomes will keep deals moving in 68 days citywide. Faster in pockets like the Financial District, where days to contract fell from 168 to 87. On the rental side, the $3,950 citywide median asking rent from October year-over-year may stabilize as concessions stay elevated. With 23.5% of rentals offering incentives citywide and the Bronx leading at 43.2%, tenants will keep negotiating on terms even if headline rents hold. Manhattan's 20.6% concession share and 23.7% price cut share show room to maneuver in the priciest borough. The count of 32,409 homes for rent citywide in October, despite a 6.8% year-over-year decline, still gave tenants choices, especially where new development boosted the mix. Two watch items could bend that base case. First, the delistings trend that crested nationally in September 2025, nearly 85,000 withdrawals, up 22.8% year-over-year, bears watching into the spring and summer. If more New York Metro sellers follow the national pattern, pulling 1,964 homes or beyond in a month, rather than cutting prices, effective supply will tighten and sale prices may remain firm, even as transactions slow. If withdrawals ebb, the October pattern of 3,539 new listings and 2,191 contracts could repeat. Second, the insurance and disaster calculus, reshaping Florida and Texas, could redirect demand. If surging insurance costs and repeated storms continue to cool those markets while return-to-office nudges remote workers back to their hubs, the commuter belt around New York could heat up faster than the city core, altering where the next 10.4% contract surge shows up. There's an upside watch item hiding inside the October data, too. If visibility continues to correlate with price, top-viewed homes selling at 100% of asking while lower visibility listings fetch 96.7%, the tools that make listings stand out could compress discounts further. That would push the sale-to-list ratio above October's 97.9% and shorten days on market below 68, at least in tightly priced neighborhoods. The luxury market offers a version of that story. 19 contracts over $4,000 in the week of November 24 to November 30 outpaced a typical 17, with the top deal at $14,500 at 895 Park Avenue pulling attention and capital into pre-war co-ops even as holiday traffic thinned. In short, the city's fall housing story is mathematics, not mythology. In October 2007-2000, 191 contracts met 3,539 new listings and 17,243 active for-sale homes. The median asking price held near $1,550,000, and most sellers achieved 90 to 7.9% of that final number. Days on market stabilized at $60.08 citywide, with Manhattan's pace quickening by 18 days year over year. Renters faced a $3,950 median ask, but nearly 1 in 4 found a concession, and more than 2 in 5 did in the Bronx. Beyond the 5 boroughs, nearly 85,000 September delistings nationally and 1,964 in the New York Metro showed how quickly supply can disappear when expectations diverge. Inside the city, sellers and buyers are still meeting. The luxury market, 19 contracts above $4,000 the week of November 24, remains a world apart, but it moved too. A year from now, this could read like the opening chapter of a long, slow reset. Contracts rising 10.4% year over year. New listings up 8.2%. Rents high but negotiable, with 23.5% of apartments offering concessions. A commute calculus pushing more families toward the suburbs, ringing the city. Meanwhile, distant coastlines wrestle with surging insurance costs and storm seasons that won't relent, pushing inventory up and demand down enough that some sellers take losses. The 5 boroughs don't exist in a vacuum, but the October and November data say they are charting their own course. Watch the number of contracts each month. The 2,191 printed in October is your baseline. Track active listings against the 17,243 citywide count. Monitor days on market against 68. On the rental side, follow the concession share against 23.5% and the Bronx's 43.2% marker. If national delistings fall below September's nearly 80 to 5,000, liquidity could improve everywhere. If they don't, New York's commitment to smart pricing may keep it busier than the rest. If you want more number-driven breakdowns of New York real estate, stay with us.